Welcome back, everybody. It's a beautiful, sunny, clear Central Oregon day. So today, several of you guys have asked about a couple things around here, and I thought maybe today I would just do a story video about my hot rod, because you guys have been asking about that forever. I had lots of emails about that. And a couple people have seen in the background, there's a spider web right there, sorry about that. Not the background, there's Lucy. She's sitting by the hot rod because she knows that's what we're doing today. Okay, anyway, a bunch of you guys have asked about the hot rod, and then a couple of you guys have seen in the background, you know, wherever, there's two trucks that are I call them the gatekeepers. They're by my gate in the entrance to my little property, ranch, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to tell you guys the story about the hot rod, my hot rod, and then we're going to walk over by the gate. I'll show you the gate, maybe kind of explain a little bit about that as well, and then we'll talk about the two trucks that are out there that we call the gatekeepers, because they both have an interesting story. All right, here we go. All right, for some reason, Lucy thinks that this would be a good idea for her to get in this truck. I think anytime the video camera comes out, she's just like, well, if you're videoing this truck, you should let me get in it. Do you want to get in it? She's never been in this before. Look at this. Yeah, you've never been in there. Ever. Okay, well, you stay right there. She's crazy. It's hilarious. All right, so this is my 1935 International hot rod. So the story of this truck goes, I got this from a good friend of mine, Nick, in Colorado, and Nick and his dad built the majority of this truck from parts and pieces and, you know, swap meets, wrecking yard, hot rod shows, barter trading, you know, all the normal stuff you do to build a truck, right? You get all the parts and pieces, and when you have enough parts and pieces, you build the whole truck. Sorry, I'm turning my phone off for you guys right now because it's annoying. And this truck was complete when they got it. It was a phone utility truck from Colorado Springs. So you can see phone 7. It was truck number 7. And that blue, white, and then the green, that's all the original paint. So I get asked all the time, oh, are you going to paint it? You going to paint it? No! You don't paint something that has this much original stuff on it still. Just me. Now, from the grill shell to the tailgate, all of this sheet metal has been with this truck since 1935. Now, many of you say, oh, you just threw a bed on there, oh, you just did this, oh, you just did that. No, they didn't. A lot of people do that, but that's not what happened to this truck. So what's cool about these is right here, there's a tag on the fender well, or excuse me, the cowl, firewall. We can talk today. Talking's fun. That's the VIN number and the ID tag on the firewall of the truck. Now, International didn't build the beds. Now you see they shortened the front of the bed. See where the old wheel well was on the fender? So they shortened the front and brought it up so it would fit. Okay. So on the bed, you see there's another ID tag from the manufacturer right there. Whoops. Did I actually even get that? Okay. I got a bad shadow. There you go. All right. Now, she's like, can we just go? Would you just take me somewhere? So International didn't build the beds for these trucks. They had a carriage, you know, house, boutique place that built the beds. They built the cab and the front sheet metal and stuff like that. Now this is missing the fenders and the running boards, obviously. That, you know, we'll get to that in a minute. But the company back in the 30s that built these beds for International, they put an ID tag on the bed. Now when they were building each of the trucks, they would get the VIN number from International, and International would say, okay, here's the VIN number, here's the year, here's the make, here's the model, this is how long we want the bed. they would put a data tag on the bed when the bed was done, and the last 4 digits of the data tag were the last 4 digits of the VIN number of the truck. So if your data tag on your bed matches the VIN number on your firewall, your truck is complete, original steel, as it was built originally back in the 30s or whenever your truck was built. Kind of cool. I don't know how long they carried that in, like if they did in the 40s or whatever, but I do know on the 30s trucks that's what the deal was. I'm not doing a very good job with the camera here, sorry. Okay, so let's go over what this is. The cab has been chopped. I believe Nick told me it's 4 in the front and 5 in the rear. And you can see they did the doors and everything else too. The body has been channeled over the frame 6 inches. And if you don't know what that means when you want to lower the body on a frame of a truck, you cut the floors of the cab out and you set the cab down where you want, and then you rebuild the floors. So let me show you. We have not put the side pieces on yet, but you see how much. See, there's the floor, and the floor used to be down there, so you've got like 6 or 8 inches that it's been lowered, channeled. She still thinks we're going somewhere. One of my favorite little touches on this truck is my buddy John, who owns Acme Speed Shop, makes these stickers. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, there's never been a more fitting sticker for this truck than that. All right, so what did Nick and his dad gather when they started this? They gathered 1961 Ford F100 pickup frame. So the frame and the front, you know, suspension, leaf springs, whatever, that's Ford F100. And then it's got a drop axle in the front. I believe that is from a Model A. The headlights are 38 Buick, I believe. I'm trying to remember all this stuff. The engine, kind of a funny story. The engine actually came out of a wrecking yard, I think he told me in Pueblo, Colorado. And it was in a 57 Chevy Corvette, and it was a kind of a gasser racer. So the big raised front end, lowered rear end, I-beam front axle. That's why it had the motor in the front set back, then it had the headers and stuff like that. Well, that's an original 57 Corvette 283 V8, and those headers were on it. Well, when they pulled the motor out of the car in the wrecking yard, that, you know, the headers were too hard to get off to get around the fenders and stuff like that, so they just pulled them with the motor and threw it in the back of the pickup truck and took it home. Little did they know later they were going to build headers for this and exhaust and all stuff like that. Well, Nick said they had the front sheet metal off and they set the motor in here and the headers were still on it, and they're like, huh, well, if that doesn't just belong in there, when we just should leave that and make the side pipes. So those are the headers that were, you know, dumped out for the gasser car, and they ended up fitting perfectly with the way this set up. So those actually came with the Corvette race car motor. So kind of funny. Now, I say race car, it's not a hopped up motor. I would say it probably has a mild cam in it. It has the headers, and it has an aluminum intake, and you know, it doesn't even have a 4-barrel. It has a 2-barrel carburetor. So it is not a powerhouse. It does the job just fine. So 283, it's got a 700 R4 automatic with overdrive. So, you know, she cruises down the road at 80, no problem. It's very nice to drive. Wheels and tires, those are stock steel wheels from a Ford F100, the fronts. And then the rears are an aftermarket steel wheel from Speedway, and I think they're like a 10-inch wide. But he had the rears, the lip made the same as the front, so you could run the international. Those are international KB series, which would be the 1940s trucks, hubcaps. So there you go. And those are just Coker tires. They are a radial tire. I think they look cool. I only drive this thing in the summertime, so it doesn't really matter. The rear end's a Ford 9-inch. I believe it has 354 gears, and then it's got a Speedway 4-link kit with coilovers, so the back ride's good. The fuel tank is hiding underneath that platform there. The battery's underneath there. The tailgate does still open. I'm not going to open it right now because I can't hold the camera and do that at the same time, because I'm not that talented. So you can see they made the back window a little bit smaller. Lucy is just like, why are we not going? Why am I even in the truck, Dad? We're not going yet. Why not? And when I titled it here in Oregon from Colorado, I had a 35 plate, so it's got a 1935 Oregon plate on it now. Just simple tail lights. Does not have blinkers. Has running lights and brake lights. Interior is bare bones. It's got a pair of basic bucket seats that sit right on the floor. Comfort is not huge. Just an old swap meet steering wheel. I don't even know what that thing's from. Couple gauges on the dash. Brake and gas. Like I said, no blinkers, no nothing. This is a war ration token that you would have got back for a food ration back in 1933, and that is from Colorado, so that's kind of cool. That's with it. Does not have any side glass, doesn't have a heater, doesn't have a radio. To me, this is a definition of a true hot rod. A lot of people say rat rod because it doesn't have much paint on it, but to me this is a hot rod. This is a well sorted, well driving, fun truck that you can take anywhere. Cars and coffee. I mean, I can cruise. I'd take this thing 150-mile drive anywhere, no problem. The visor, I want to say Nick told me that was from like a 38 Packard or Oldsmobile or something like that. So a couple parts and pieces that are from other vehicles. I don't remember if he said if his dad did these louvers or if a guy locally did them for him. It's pretty cool because they're, you know, this is a lost art. It's very difficult to do. And if you look, a pinstriper a long time ago put the little lines on each of the louvers to kind of accentuate them, which is pretty cool. This is your air conditioning vent. Does have front glass and rear glass. Those side pipes have a little bit of a resonator to them, a little tiny bit of muffler, not much. I have run it without any pipes at all. It's very loud. It's kind of cool. Something really pretty rare on this truck is the grill. I just noticed that that is loose, so we're gonna have to fix that. These grills are very, 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 very hard to find. Most of the time they're destroyed. So the fact that that's here and the emblem is here is super cool. So there you have it. It's my 1935 International pickup hot rod. And I say hot rod because it still has some of its original paint and it is all the original body panels. A lot of people argue rat rod, hot rod, hot rod, whatever. To me, this is a hot rod. And what good video would be if I didn't fire it up, right? So let's fire it up. Let's see what it sounds like. Lucy, you're gonna have to move over. Move over. Yep, move over. Move over, please. She doesn't listen very good sometimes. She didn't like that. Now you're gonna get out? Oh yeah. She's like, Dad, that was too loud. I didn't like that at all. All right, so if you guys have any questions, comment down below. Like I said, this is my hot rod. This is my cars and coffee rig. This is what I drive this summer to the parts store. Oh, I was going to tell you guys the story a little bit about how this came about with Nick and I. And Nick does, my friend Nick, not my son, he does a lot of scouts. He buys and sells them and fixes them and, you know, rescues them and stuff. He has a regular job, but that's kind of what he does on the side. And I had a Scout half cab like pickup truck that was all original Montana truck, but it definitely needed restoration, and he's going to restore it, or already has restored it, I'm not sure. It's an early 72 Scout 810. And he saw that, and he was thinking about selling this truck. And he called me up and he said, you know, I think that Scout pickup would be really cool for what I do with all my, you know, Scout stuff to have as a parts runner and a little hot rod run around town truck. And I was like, okay, cool. And he said, this 35 International belongs at your shop because this is, you know, more about what you do, and it fits your business model of all the things that you guys do, original paint and stuff like that. And I said, heck yeah, man. So we made a deal. Obviously, it was not a straight across trade, but you know, it was a very fair deal for both of us. And I will confess, I was the one that had to give money, obviously. So I gave money and my Scout, and Nick gave me this truck. And I hauled it home on an open car carrier on the week of my birthday 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago now. And I drove back from Colorado, and I went up through Wyoming, and then came over through Idaho and back into Oregon and stuff. And you know, it's like 1,200 and some miles each way. Of all the things I've hauled on a trailer, now I've driven a lot of stuff, but of all the things I've hauled on a trailer, I think this got more people with their cell phones to take pictures or video or stop. And every time I stopped for fuel, I had people asking about it. And you know, everybody really appreciated that it was just an original steel hot rod and that it wasn't painted, you know, because this would be an easy one to sandblast and paint because it's solid, you know. But it was cool that everybody really did appreciate that it was original and that it wasn't going to get painted. So anyway, all right, well, we're going to go over and I'm going to show you the gate and the gatekeepers. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this little story of the hot rod, the 35 International. And yeah, it puts a smile on my face every time I drive it. So all right, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.